welcome to the first episode of In Process of TOPIA with Latasha.
Hi,
Um,
y'all.
Welcome. Can you give us a little bit of a background of who you are and what you've been building?
Yeah, so hi everybody. I'm Latasha. I am a music artist and I am also a founder and builder. I like to call myself a sonic world builder. I believe that everything that I do is in tandem with building transmedia IPs and worlds, but it all starts from the music. And so I like to call myself a sonic world builder. I've been in music for about 10 years professionally. And in that journey of music, I really was captivated by the story of sovereignty and building independence for myself and supporting others in that journey. And so I became the first woman rapper to utilize blockchain for distribution. And then I utilized blockchain to distribute all types of art from my music to my doodles to my music videos to my journal entries. And in a summer, I made what a record deal would have given me by just utilizing digital assets. And over time, I worked at Zora and became a head of community at Zora, and fast forward, built an incredible community called Zoratopia, which was like a movement in supporting artists in education and Web3. And then calamity hit when bear market hit. And I decided to take a little bit of a moment and breather to understand purpose again and vision again and what I wanted out of myself and out of this space. And I decided to let go of my title at Zora and start building my own. And now we're in this really amazing stretch where I'm back as an artist, but even more importantly, I'm a founder now to Topia and building something brand new. And in that process of building Topia, I became the founder of In Process. And I am very excited for the journey of In Process right now.
The majority of the musicians that I work with across South America look up to you. Like you said, you're
Oh.
the first woman rapper to use on-chain for distribution, and everybody, when they come in, joins a community like Neutro or Música W3, and when they come in, your name is said, and the roots, the foundation that you laid down is what everybody's building on. For you to have come in and seen the vision and to lay that foundation, I'm very curious. I talk to people around here, and when I mention on-chain, they say, my president scammed me with a meme coin. That's in the US and here in Argentina. Like, they
Mm.
think of it as scamming, they think of it as nothing. So I'm curious, from your perspective, how does on-chain contribute to you being sovereign, or what
Mm.
do you see being the role of on-chain in your repertoire of tools?
I love that question. Thank you so much. And shout out to the communities out there, yo, because they really inspire me to continue to do this thing as challenging and complicated and all over the place as this community and world could be in Web3. I realized that on-chain media is beyond just the, speculation and the funds. I am so grateful that in this space I found real community. I found people that could help me build and I could build with as well. And I found people that are like-minded in seeing sovereignty. I've been in the music industry and in the art industry for a very long time, and, when people are like, oh, Web3 is a scam, I'm like, oh, have you been in the music industry before? um, because there's some risk that you're taking when you're in the music industry as well. So for me, it's not so much about, the speculation, but it is also about finding and taking back our power through these tools. I think at the heart of it, I've always been told in the music industry, oh, you just got to kind of take whatever you get. And in this space, I've really been captivated by the opportunity of saying what my value is. Um, and also, I've been really intrigued by the fact that we could build our own tools and build our own world here and take our communities here instead of utilizing tools that don't really speak to our heart work. And so, yeah, that's what keeps me on chain. I also think, and on chain is such a complicated word, so I always say on blockchain, but what keeps me on blockchain also is the fact that this information is forever now. Like once you put something on chain, it is recorded and there's precedence. And with all the medias that I've witnessed over time, the blog era, etc., um, we witness so many creatives have all this history taken away from them once a blog is taken down, or once any forms of these platforms decide to change. So much of the history is lost. But the fact that things are now on chain and on blockchain, we could go back into the wallets and witness what was happening in the historical moments of this world that we've built with Web3.
You mentioned finding and taking back our power and building our own tools. And I think that's something a lot of the musicians do look up to you about is you've stepped into your power, you build what you want, you focus on what you want, you feel very authentic and you don't sacrifice what the values that you hold dear in what you're building. Can you talk us through a little bit of how you've been as a builder?
Mm.
Musician, I'm sure there's a lot of interviews about it. As a builder, what was like the first thing you remember building? And can you take us through your journey as a builder through the first thing up till what you're building now?
Man, I mean, on chain or off chain?
Start with the earliest you can think of, even if it's off chain.
Oh my god, my MySpace profile was like my first coding game. I was really young, but I remember really getting deep into the MySpace world, and I might be aging myself here, but it was really fun to start thinking about how I want my profile to look, how I want people to view me and understand me. And I remember my profile being so ridiculous, like just all types of junk everywhere and lots of pictures and music and everything. And then coded a website, my first ever music website as well, and built my first it was You Could Call Me LA was my original name back in the day. So it was You Could Call Me LA was my website. And I don't know if it's out there anymore, but that was really fun. I used like Wix during the time and a bunch of other coding tools to build that. And then when I got into Web3, I can't say that I was always coding in Web3. I was like culture coding, I like to say, and social coding more. My game was community and like connecting community and build and bringing people together, and then ideating larger picture visions, right? I don't have the capacity like I used to sit at my computer and code like when I was younger, because I'm traveling, I'm an artist, and I'm outside. And my goal is to be outside as much as possible with the people. So I bring in amazing people like you, sweet man, to come and help me bring things to life. And yeah, the next thing that I supported was Zora, obviously, and helped in a lot of the ideation of Zora, and brought a lot of like my thought patterns and vision of how artists and creatives should be supported to Zora when I was working there. And I've spoken to a lot of different teams out there and supported a lot of different teams on like what is the best ways to approach creatives and build for creatives. And so, yeah, my journey has been speaking to everybody. I'm like, ooh, what can I say without my NDA getting in trouble? But I have helped a lot of different companies. But then, yeah, and now we're at the focus of In Process and at the focus of Topia, and I am the CEO of Topia. I am helping execute the higher vision of Topia while we have an incredible product team. My girl, Annalisa Moody, is the CPO, and she's building the product. And before we even got into Topia, I decided like I wanted to try a beta like project, and that was In Process, and that's where you came in and supported my life with the amazing CY, who is actually my executive producer to all the worlds that I'm building.
When we first talked, I think you had mentioned 3 different projects that you had wanted to work on. And it sounds like right now, today, we're talking about 2. How should people listening and following you consider the difference between what is in process, what is Topia, if there's a third thing that you're working on, like how in your mind, what are the lines between these projects?
Absolutely. Thank you for that question. So, Topia is the umbrella to all of the world's and platforms and products that we're building. And Process is a tool that supports artists in timelining their journeys. I've got really tired of utilizing the same social media platforms to share my process, and I wanted to see a different vision of how we could share our process and something a little bit more linear and streamlined. When I started working with CY, he always was like, just send me your NFTs and send me like whatever you're making. And, and I was like, oh, this is so disorganized. Like, I just feel like there's no, like story really being told if we're looking at it from a open sea perspective or Azure perspective. No beef to these platforms, but it just was like all over the place. And then you're dealing with like, what you're dealing with. I don't got to go into the bots and all that kind of stuff. So I was just like, I want us to build something that organizes the story and tells the story of creatives in a bigger way. And I wanted something to collectively tell the story of the artists utilizing on-chain platforms and media and who are like a part of this new sovereign story. I think the world of In Process to me is really about that, even bigger than just the individual. Like, I think my whole premise is how do we take the macro and the micro and put them together and have us be able to see the larger picture and the picture of the individual creative and how they're a part of these collectives and communities. So, In Process is a tool, and it is a tool to timeline your journey and also become a part of community that timelines its journey together. Some of the things that are coming up with In Process is we're going to have finally get a mobile in the future, which I'm so excited about. And we're also going to be iterating on a different version of In Process with new timelines and the ability to organize your timelines and your journeys a little bit better. So we were at, I would like to say we're at V1 recently, and now we're heading to V2. Oh my God, In Process is like a little baby to me. So every time I'm thinking about it, I get very, I get very emotional about it. But I'm really proud of what it's been doing thus far and how it's been interacting with the community. We had a lot of kinks and bumps on the road, but it's really beautiful to witness it grow. And then there's Topia, which is, I like to say, the parent to In Process. Topia, it is a creative empowerment network and culture protocol. So what we're asking for on this platform is for both people that want to explore new creatives to come and join Topia, and also for artists to come and build their worlds within Topia. So In Process would be one of the tools that are living within Topia. And Topia also really is big on integrating the IRL and the URL experience. So we have events that we will be throwing starting next year. And these events will be concerts, but also educational workshops and things of that nature to teach artists about new creative innovations that are available to them for their world building and stack. And then on the other side is this really dope discovery space where people could discover all these incredible artists that are in Web3 and beyond. And underlying all of that is this world called Catalyst, where we're bringing on different recommendations on service tools that artists could utilize for their journey, like a Recoup AI or a In Process, or other tools like Spiral Engine, or even Zora will have like a platform there for them. And it will be a full database of different tools that artists could utilize, and a better explainer of these tools too, because I think a lot of times it's really complicated for artists to get in and just get into it without an explainer of what these tools could actually do. Um, and then there'll be also people that are within the Catalyst region that want to support creators. So, i.e., patrons, lawyers, managers, people that just want to offer services to the creators as well. So it's a three-part world layer and it has a lot of different things that we're building. So it's been like a journey to build this baby, but she's getting her first VO, we're calling it like a beta VO in December, which I'm very excited about. Shout out to Jamel Reynolds and Annalisa Moody, who have been really building this out. Annalisa is the, like I said, product. And then Jamel has been brand and creative, and it's been really beautiful to witness. I also got to shout out Jada Beasley, who's our marketing head. So she's been killing it already with that IRL events and et cetera, et cetera. So we started very small in LA, but we're going to start branching out into more cities next year. And then the secret third project that you've been kind of telling people about is Tosh 55. Tosh 55 is a world within Topia. It is my world and my like IP, you could say, and transmedia project around evolution and transformation. There'll be a lot of amazing things coming out of it. Of course, music visual, but there is some other things that I don't want to talk about yet coming from Touch 55. But shout out to that because Tosh 55 will be the first pillar of Worlds to Topia. And then there'll be many others coming in, like Helmet City, which is Jamel Reynolds' project. We're imagining Eternal Gardens will show up into Topia. And everybody who's the homies who got really fire worlds, we want to bring you onto Topia so we could show this crazy universe that we've been building within Web3 and beyond. So that's the spiel. That's the world. That's the pitch.
For now, and I'm sure the borders continue to expand as you arrive at what you were previously imagining. So it sounds like Topia is the umbrella. It's the creative empowerment protocol. In Process is a tool within that. It's a tool for artist timelines. Tosh 55 is like an implementation of one of those worlds. It's you kind of showing, here's my vision of a world that can be built within the Topia system. Am I getting it right so far?
Exactly. Absolutely. And very clear. Thank you, sweet man.
And so one question that I have is, I keep seeing it from the outside of Topia. Like I'm very much hands-on within Process, but for Topia, I feel like I'm peeking over the fence. Like you throw a couple words inside of the Telegram and I'll hear you talking about it here, but I don't have the full picture. And I'm curious, is it live, or like how will artists be interfacing with it? You mentioned events, you mentioned you're building out tech. Do you imagine that most artists will be experiencing Topia for the first time in 2026 showing up to an event? Or is there a website where people can already go? Or if artists are peeking over the fence like me and they want to get more immersed into Topia, where do they go?
Great question. So we're starting with our VO in December. So you'll people will get to see a very beta version of Topia, very very chill version. We want to first get that to you guys so you could experiment with the platform, give us your feedback, etc., and also ask you what you are looking for. My biggest thing is always about the creatives and what they definitely need. I think a lot of times in this space, I've witnessed platforms build without the creator at the forefront. And so I am always like, okay, let's talk to them and really get to see what is important to the creator. So we're going to build this VO. It's very basic, but I'm really excited for a basic tool because I'm big on just building something basic and then growing from there. And then goals are for IRL events to start up in March, and people could come and experience what Topia feels like. And it's such an incredible experience, I must say, with the Zoratopias and the Topias we've already built in LA. They were just such a powerful experience to witness artists get to showcase their art, but also get to connect and talk about their journeys through our workshops. So excited for that. And then hopefully we'll have a V1 of Topia around that same time, around March, April. So that's the journey.
And how big's the team that you've been operating with? Like across
Mm.
everything, it sounds like there's 4 members of your Topia team.
Yeah, and then
Go
we
ahead.
like to include CY, and then we also have like a business support consultant named Kisan who is coming onto the team as well. So I want to say we have about 6 people on the team right now. It's very tiny, but purposefully we think we want to just start lean and then grow from there.
What can other artists learn to become more sovereign like you? I think a lot of artists
No.
need to, the mainstream artists are depending on record labels. They still feel like they need to sell their rights, sell their soul, get that loan, and then pay that back and get the chain. A lot of other artists are having to work another job that's outside of their artistry, whether it's serving tables or working at a warehouse in Amazon. You have found a way to do what you want and not, again, stay authentic to what you're doing. And it seems like sovereignty has been a very core element of that. Do you have any tips or advice for other musicians for how they can start breaking those chains of things that they feel like might be holding them back or not allowing them to step into the same level of freedom or sovereignty that you've been able to achieve?
Wow, thank you for that beautiful question. So I'm not gonna act like I didn't work at Costco or work at Urban Outfitters or worked at financial departments and Chase and tried to figure things out. I've done it all, you know. I've worked in all kinds of spaces. I've done very small deals. But my vision has always been like, how do I figure this out so that I have the leverage as much as possible and I'm not taken advantage of as a creative, right? And so even in that journey, I must say, I have been taken advantage of. I have been like, you know, treated unfairly by companies and brands and things of that nature. But because I always kept things very short term, I always kept things very much so in the light of what is more important to me, what are my values. I was able to get out of things faster, very luckily, because I always kept things tight and in my vision and scope. So when artists see me and they understand, like they see me and they hear my journey about freedom and sovereignty, I want them to know that I've gone through a lot of the same things that they go through. And it's not all like I've just been free, I've been without latches my whole journey. Like I've had my own forms of chains that I had to break and figure out too, you know? But and we still have chains to break. It's not like everything is just all free at this moment. We are still working towards it. And sovereignty to me isn't just like it's done, it's one and done. It's a journey, right? This is a journey of sovereignty. The systems are still systeming. And I am still a human being working through all the systems that we are just a part of and in this world. And so I want to say, I know that I am like a great example of doing your utmost to get towards independence, but I still am working through as much as everybody else too. And and I'm proud of that work through. I'm proud of the journeys that we've taken and the worlds that we've built and how we've shown up for creatives, you know? And I'm proud of how I show up for myself as a creative too. But I don't want to act like this is peaches because it's very, very complicated and some days challenging. But I know in the future, when artists see artists like myself and more artists like me, they're going to be like, that was what I wanted to be. That's what I want to do. That's how I want to do it. And yeah, I'm just here for the future. So I'm excited about everything we're building right now.
Thank you for doing this first episode of In Process, in the
Thank
process of
you.
Topia with Latasha. Essentially, we have V0 coming out March 2026. We've got IRL and maybe a
Mhm.
V1. So everybody stay tuned. And
Yes, stay tuned, please.